And because, just in relation to women, the young men, even in those days, 1966, 67, 68, they were saying women shouldn't give classes because they're less intelligent. So Govinda Dasi happened to have been one of Prabhupada's personal servants at that time, she and her husband Gursundar. So I asked her to ask Prabhupada for me, is it true that women can't advance as quickly as men? And I was feeling depressed. So Prabhupada told her to tell me, yes, if you think you're a woman, how can you make any advancement? And when one of the brahmacharis wrote to Prabhupada that I shouldn't be giving classes because we were all equal, and many girls were giving classes in those days, Kanchan Bala, Leela Sukha, myself. And so one of the brahmacharis wrote to Prabhupada and said, this is not right. So Prabhupada said, he quoted the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya said, Kiba Vipra, Kiba Nyasi, Sudra Kenenai, whether one is a sannyasi or a brahmana or anything, if he knows the science of Krishna, then he can be a teacher of Krishna consciousness. And even if you think that women are less intelligent, still everyone should be given a chance to speak. Also on one of those May morning walks, because I used to get sick a lot, and I used to work in the basement of the Boston Temple, and there was no air down there. There was lots of water bugs, what do you call those big thermostats? And so at some point, working and overworking, I had a lung collapse. And then when I recovered, on the morning walk, I asked Prabhupada, was that due to overwork that I got sick? So he said, the cause is this body. The cause is already there. Regarding the body itself being the cause of all of our miseries, not any situation or a person, he told the story of a man who brought a skull home. And he was like an anthropologist type of person, so he liked to study that. And he put it in one drawer. And then he came later to it and saw that the skull was smashed. He asked his wife what happened. She said, oh, I thought that was some previous lover of yours, and so in anger, I crushed it. So he said, now I can understand. This person was destined to suffer so much that even after he left his body, his skull was smashed. So it's all prearranged. The temple was in New York, the first temple, 26 2nd Avenue. And Prabhupada was performing the pastime of recuperating from a heart attack. So he was staying in New Jersey by the beach. And 2 of us a day would get to visit him. So the day that I was there, I told him that one of the brahmacharis criticized me for wearing shorts one day. I said, is it okay to wear shorts? Because I listened to him, but I wasn't satisfied. So Prabhupada said, the attraction is already there, don't aggravate it. Then he said, in Vedic culture, a woman would be so covered that even the sun, S-U-N, could not see her, and who can hide themselves from the sun? Then he pointed out about the Muslim religion, how, the women only have their eyes showing. And then there just so happened to have been a picture of Draupadi, like that, and the assembly of crude and rude men were trying to strip her naked, and then Krishna was becoming her cloth. And so he imitated Draupadi and said, by nature, a woman is ashamed to be seen without clothes. So that was his instruction on me following the brahmachari. So when Prabhupada was seeing all these changes that Radhaballabha Prabhu and I wanted to make, according to the letter that Ramaswara sent us, just after his talk with Prabhupada, he said Prabhupada was holding the signatures of the pictures, and they were shaking in his hands. He was so angry. He said, I like to see, he said, and she's such a hippie, she likes to see men with long hair and beards, even when they don't have them in the painting. And he said, and why the change of Vasudeva carrying Krishna across the river? Why did you change it to not even change it? Why did you just take it out? Why didn't you just fix it? So Ramaswara said to him, you can't just fix it at this point. He said, then just keep it as it is, but don't change it. Later on, when we did the 10th canto, what's his name? Ramdas Avi Ramdas did a beautiful one of the whole thing of Ananta and Vasudeva and Krishna. So he said, these are our ISKCON trademarks. Don't change them without my authorization. So regarding how I felt when I heard about all the mistakes that I made in the books, is I wanted to kill myself, but that's not so easy. So I just lamented and figured, well, you just have to keep going and show him more pictures beforehand. So sometimes we showed him the paintings half done, sometimes all done but not published yet, sometimes sketches. And when we were doing the Chaitanya Charitamrita Marathon, because they had to come out so fast and he was all over the world, he said, there's no time to send the sketches now. Just pray to Krishna, he's in your heart. When Prabhupada came to Boston, I was complaining to him that there's a certain devotee in the temple that I can't get along with. And I was explaining and expanding. And in the middle of my expanding, I got the realization, who am I telling this to? Prabhupada came to this world for loving relationships with God and each other. So then I stopped myself in the middle and I said, well, should I just forget about it? So he said, yes, you have to forgive and forget, otherwise how can you live? Then around the same time in Boston, I was in his room with Govinda Dasi, and he had his trunk desk, and there was a little ant walking across his desk. And I was starting to attempt to kind of like brush him off the desk, and Prabhupada said, no, let him play. But it was too late, I was already brushing, and so I squashed him. And I felt so bad, like that's a brother, and this is in front of a person who sees the soul. And then he didn't look very happy with me. And then Govinda said, so did he immediately get another body? And Prabhupada said, yes, at once transferred. And then I just started apologizing over and over again, but Prabhupada would not look up at me.
Je anilo